So I'd like to call to order the August 5th meeting of the Town of Mills River Planning Board. We can start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. I'd like to start with an approval of tonight's agenda. Thank you, Mike. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor of approving tonight's agenda?
Aye.
Right. And we also need to approve the minutes of our June 17th meeting.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes to the June 17th meeting.
Thank you, Brian. Do we
And
have a-
I'll second that motion.
Thank
to approve.
you. All say aye if you approve the minutes of that meeting.
Aye.
Okay, great. Let's move on and see if Michael has any staff updates for
I
us.
had a few updates. Hope everyone had a good summer break. Just wanted to let the board know that the future land use map and the subdivision definition ordinance amendments that this board considered and recommended approval of, those are going before council next Thursday, August 14th, in 2 separate public hearings. So just wanted to let you know those are going before council. We have a few transportation surveys on the town website, if anyone's interested in looking through them. One is for the State Transportation Improvement Program, one is for the Elevate 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and one is for the Safe Streets for Western North Carolina Transportation Plan. There's a news flash on the website, so if anyone Metropolitan Planning Organization, all that information on the site, which is now millsriver.gov. We have from .org, www.millsriver.org to .gov. That's something governments are doing commonly now, just as another security check for the public. Our emails have also all transitioned to those as well, although there's going to be a long period of overlap where we'll still get notifications from the .org emails, and the .org website will still redirect for quite some time. I did want to let this body know specifically that the UDO consultants are going to be coming out for their next in-person visit. This is for the Task 3 annotated outline, and we do not have a specific date yet for the steering committee meeting, but knowing that this board comprises about 2/3 of the steering committee, it's going to be September 24th through the 26th. I don't have more information at this time, but just make a note on your calendars that on one of those days, probably most likely the 25th or 26th, we will have a steering committee meeting to go through the annotated outline for the Unified Development Ordinance. On that note, I know I've shared this information with a few people, but realized I hadn't done so with the board publicly. The town was able to secure the downzoning exemption for the Unified Development Ordinance project. So we have a 1-year window, well, now 11 months, until July 1st of 2026 to adopt the Unified Development Ordinance, which includes a new zoning map. And we do not have to abide by the downzoning prohibition. After it's adopted, we will. But we basically have this window of time open to address all these items without obtaining consent. And that specific exemption was through Session Law 2532, and it was House Bill 309. It's just a couple of lines stating we have the ability to adopt that.
What session law number again, Mike?
Yeah, Session Law 2025-32.
Okay.
It originally started as House Bill 309. It's a multi-page document. You'd probably have to search for Mills River because we are 3 lines of probably 10 pages of legislation in there. But that's really exciting. And so on that note, we are moving full steam ahead with the UDO, with the consultants. And I'm not going to go through all of it, but we have basically a revised project schedule that puts us completed by that deadline, even introducing some of those items to council starting in April and May of next year. So we are pushing forward, and that was great news to hear. And that's,
There has to be a public hearing at the end of that, right?
yeah,
That
because-
accounted for that clearly, but I just want.
Yeah, correct. So it'll still be an ordinance amendment, even though we're adopting a whole new ordinance, but so it'd have to go through the standard legislative public hearing process. And those are all the updates I have.
Great. That's, it's pretty exciting stuff. Okay, cool. Well, then moving on, to old business. We all had our homework. Summer break.
Yeah, board
Do it.
comments and update.
Excellent.
lot of notes about.
Oh, okay. Well, let's, yeah, let's start there then. Sorry,
Board comments.
Go- oh, okay. Anyone else?
Well, that cuts the meeting in half. So,
I do have something.
Minutes, please.
Yeah, note that. I do have something I want to say briefly. It has nothing to do with probably what we're going to talk about tonight. And that's river down here. I want you to ride down and take a look how it's getting clogged up here, and there may be other areas. And with all the floods we've had Texas, and we come that close to real disaster in Mills River last time, and it's worse now than it was. I mean, come real close to him, his house.
Yeah, they still haven't cleaned our waterway.
But they need to, we need to get somebody, and I know we don't have any jurisdiction over it, but I just want to start a conversation, and I'm gonna mention this at council and some other places. Somebody needs to start looking into that, because that, I have a little background in flood waters. I used to be on a rescue squad in Columbus, Georgia, years ago. But there were certain areas that every time it rained, we just got the boats out because we knew we were gonna have to go rescue these people. And they come up with something that solved the problem, but I won't go into that. But it could happen here. It almost happened last time, you know. Come real close to,
I will tell you that multiple companies are out there bidding these right now. There's so much red tape for them to get.
well,
through.
I know, but
They're
I
bidding
just
Boylston
wanna
right
keep
now and-
pressure on, so we need
Yeah.
to keep them making aware.
Very
that
frustrating.
That could affect us real quick, because all this water from upstream comes down here. And if you look at that, I've been watching it, and I got some pictures of it for the last couple of weeks. It's getting worse. And when it starts backing up, it's got nowhere to go. That's all I got.
Thank you.
yeah, my only comment is actually a request, Mike, for the UDO consultant. Before these meetings, when there's a presentation either on their website or emailed to us, is there a way to get those presentations ahead of time? Because time is of the essence. And I think it would be fruitful meetings if we have a chance to look at what they're presenting first before the meeting and kind of familiarize ourselves with that rather than wait for a presentation and then try to figure out questions. So I don't know if there's a way to do that or get those things ahead of time.
I can pass that along.
It's just, I just think it would cut down on time and, it's thoroughness and time is of the essence, but as we know, being very thorough because it's such a large project is important, but I just think if we see a presentation ahead of time, we can have great questions for them and feedback from them. So yeah, if you don't mind passing that on.
And, is it official, has Lonnie put in his resignation?
So Mr. Oliver has, his term is ending at the end of August, and he has asked not to be reconsidered to join. So council will be, the town clerk will be going over the procedure, and it is being advertised right now.
Okay, excellent. Well, great. Hopefully our public is listening and will be overwhelmed with applicants for that seat. Unless there's any public comment in your file. No public comment tonight.
Might be the last one for a while, but yeah. Or there's none.
Okay, so moving on to talk about the subdivision ordinances. I'm not sure if anyone has any particular suggestions for approach here, or if you have, looks like we have them printed out here.
You mind if I jump in real quick?
Yes, please do.
So yeah, this is just a continuation of basically informally reviewing the whole subdivision ordinance. The board had basically set themselves the homework of reviewing all three parts of the subdivision ordinance over the latter half of June and July. We don't have to use this as a guide, but one thing I did include as attachment A is an excerpt from the UDO code diagnosis. This is much more technical in terms of how sections of the subdivision ordinance may be changed or what section they might end up in the UDO. But there are some things in there that talks about like public notice or how different types of subdivision should be considered. Should there be that many different types? There are some things in that chart that if the board wants to, you can go through that as well. But I believe the way we left it last time was that this was an informal review and basically board members were going to be coming back with comments on potential gaps, areas of interest, et cetera, ways to improve the ordinance.
Thank you. Benny, do you have any? thoughts that you start?
Can we just start right at the beginning? That's how I started, kind of reviewing this. That's my suggestion. Just start at the beginning. See if anybody's got any comments in each section. Is that okay with y'all?
Yeah.
And thank you, Michael. The appendix was awesome that you added.
Words you don't hear a lot, but yeah.
True.
So I don't follow what you want to do.
I was just saying, let's start at the beginning, just to go chapter, like general provisions. I mean, unless we want to go through the UDO stuff.
Well, what I'm saying, if this is subject to change anyway with the UDO, so I didn't know how in depth we wanted to go on all of this, other than if you reviewed it and saw something that was glaring that the UDO consultants may want to be aware of, we would talk about that. That's all I was thinking. So.
I didn't see anything in the appendix because, that's just kind of like telling you where it's slotted to be, or what's kind of changing. So that was excellent to kind of know how some of this is being grouped in and how we could maybe make some of our suggestions be a little bit more broad, instead of just saying that this is residential. It could also go for commercial and industrial ordinances or developments as well. So, but I've got some notes, y'all. We can start on my notes. I ain't
Yeah, I don't
playing
have
tonight.
anything.
Yeah, don't be shy.
All right. Anybody want to start before me? Brian?
No.
All right. So, so with the, let's see here. With the travel way minimum of 20 feet or 12 feet, let's see, where is that at?
What section?
Yep,
What
hold
section
on,
you in?
hold on. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Did not mark that because I did not have the paper copy. Where is it up?
It's most
Michael.
likely going to be under attachment C, minimum design and construction standards for major subdivisions, and there's the chart on streets and right of ways. Is that what you're referencing?
Yes.
The closest code reference would be 153.069 roads in general.
Yes.
You said 0.069.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm there.
Well, let me find one that I can actually talk about that I know where it's at. So on, let's see, it's 153.081 buffers for major subdivisions. In here for commercial and industrial, it has a buffer strip of no less than 10 feet wide, where the lots back up or adjacent to a street or between dissimilar uses of land. I think that we should increase that, because that buffer between somebody's house and, you know, the minimum shouldn't be 10 feet. It should be larger, because somebody that's backed up against an industrial park or a plant or a commercial area should have a little bit more gap between that. Whether that be with lighting, because we have heard about people with the tile store down there talking about how bright the lights are, stuff like that. So if we could move that buffer out a little bit more, I think people would be more comfortable living near an industrial or park or commercial unit of that nature.
I will say I agree.
Just if you don't mind,
No.
I believe you are interpreting this correctly, but I would definitely want to make sure that Michael has the opportunity to make sure we all are picturing in our heads what this is addressing, this buffer. And this is just the first one. So anyone that we go to, I mean, you might
Yeah.
think it's one thing and I might look at it and think it's another.
Right.
So Michael, can we just have clarification on what this buffer strip is and where it applies?
This is not brought up commonly because we don't have many commercial subdivisions. So this is only applicable if someone, let's say the public shopping center, instead of developing it as one parcel, decided to subdivide out
Right.
all of the out parcels. That as a would then qualify as a major subdivision just because of its commercial or industrial nature would come before this board. The strange thing about those is for commercial industrial subdivisions, there's not a whole lot of standards to apply, but this would be one of them. It basically states that during the subdivision process, one of the standards is this buffer strip, which would be like an evergreen landscaped buffer. It's interesting because one of the standards in the zoning code is that if you have a commercial or industrial parcel to begin with, and if you're developing next to a residential parcel, we require that buffer anyway. But
Because they're dissimilar uses.
correct. But you're correct that the width of that we call it a zoning buffer is 10 feet.
So just again, to further clarify, I'm just making sure, because there's a lot of words here. That's for a subdivision. It's not if you develop a parcel into commercial.
Correct.
It's
That
if
would
you're
be
subdividing that parcel into commercial.
correct for this line.
And industrial too.
So what, yeah, right. So what is the setback for a commercial?
Depends on the zoning district.
Okay.
Industrial, I think it's 10 to 15 feet in some cases, because the idea is that the industrial uses would be next to each other.
So our northeast corner of Banner Farm and Schoolhouse is now industrial, right?
Correct.
So that's 15 foot for the setback. It's not being subdivided. So there is no buffer there. There's just a setback.
From the road, there is no buffer. There are other landscaping or requirements that apply. From Flavor First, because it's a similar use, no buffer would be required.
On
either.
that shared property line.
Correct.
Right.
If there were a house, let's just say on the backside, then yes, a buffer would be required there. And in the original submittal, before they had the two parcels, there was a zoning buffer basically drawn around that single family home at the corner that they later acquired.
So I'm just asking that, Jenny, because I think what you want is to see that evergreen buffer on a lot of commercial properties.
Yes.
Not just, you understand, the trigger here is that it's being subdivided.
Yeah.
Is the only time this applies.
Yes, and we could broaden it out to any, like, any
I'm
zone.
not mistaken, that would be in a different part of the code because it's just the zoning. This is specifically pertains to subdividing, meaning you're taking a parcel and you're making it more than one parcel.
Yep.
And it's triggering everything we're talking about, otherwise it's not triggered here.
Yep.
Because I would like to see more buffers too. I just
Yeah.
want us to make sure we're talking about it in the right place.
Yep. Well, we can talk about it in both places because I am all up for increasing the buffers in both places.
Right, and
So,
that may
you
be
know,
a
if-
UDO conversation, but for subdivisions,
Yeah, and since we're just tackling this part, you know, that's the one up there.
we don't have a lot of developers that subdivide for commercial purposes. I can't even think of one, but when it does happen, I want it protected.
Exactly. I don't want their neighbor down the street, have this commercial subdivision come in because we are
Right.
making room for that in the land map usage stuff with the community center. Would be able to do those. So, I would want to see a buffer between it and the school or, it and, the homes that are around the area.
If I'm not mistaken, right now, there's no minimum lot size for commercial. Is that correct?
Depends on the zoning district.
Right, not an MU, or yeah. So in MU, our minimum of 0.69 acres is residential builds. That doesn't exist for commercial. So our setbacks, if you make them 40 feet, you could have a lot that you could never build on if it was too small of a lot.
Correct.
So, just in that conversation, you can have a 1/4 acre commercial lot and build on it. Where so the setbacks, maybe at a certain point, they become a percentage of, that width of that property line or
Yep.
whatever it is. They're not all square properties, but
And that could be talked about with which board? Would that be us or would that be adjustment?
What
If
would
they
you,
need- So say they have like 100 feet, just for easy math, piece of commercial property, but the setback is 60 feet. So they'd only have 40 feet to actually develop or, yeah. So saying that would be too small for whatever that they're going for, could they come to us, either this board, the town, this board, or council, or adjustments to get that adjusted?
it'd be a Board of Adjustment matter and most likely addressed with a setback variance
Okay.
request.
Just making
And-
sure they have a option.
Going back to the lot size, so for example, general business has no minimum lot size, but has a limitation on how much of the lot the building footprint can cover.
percentage, I assume.
Yes, I believe it's 50. Now neighborhood commercial, and it says for non-residential, does have a minimum lot size of 30,000.
So it's 30,000 in
In
neighborhood
neighborhood
commercial, which is pretty limited area, but, and we've marked some of that.
Light, yeah, light industrial, minimum lot size is an acre. So it varies.
So, general business
No minimum lot size, that's the building
is the
footprint.
no minimum. So for the sake of subdividing, I don't know, maybe, if I one shot at this UDO, I mean, I think that's something that needs to be addressed in the ordinance, depending on the zoning. But for subdividing, it's currently only 10 feet. Commercial industrial, it's more than that residential. I believe. Oh, yeah, it's the line up, 60 feet.
Yep.
So you brought it up, Jenny. What are you thinking? 10 feet right now, which is,
Nothing. It's nothing. It's being next door neighbors. Now I'm going to go high because, if we're going to get one shot at this, I want to make sure that, y'all hear what I'm thinking. I would like to see it at 60 feet.
Hmm.
Yeah,
so again, to further clarify, if they take a 10-acre parcel and they subdivide it, Michael, into 10, the only place this applies is road frontage and borders with dissimilar use. Shared property lines with dissimilar use.
The
So-
specific subdivision provision we're looking at?
Yes. None of the interior property lines have to have these buffers on them.
Yeah, it just says, back up to adjacent to a street or dissimilar uses.
Okay.
So
So-
yeah, we're not gonna buffer a commercial lot from a.
Exactly. All the interior lots, it's the perimeter that the
Yep.
public or, in this example, residential. I mean, it says dissimilar. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Residential, definitely.
mm-hmm.
But what if a light industrial and a retail back up to each other? Are those dissimilar? Who defines that? Where does that conversation stop going down a rabbit hole? But I guess the point there is 60 feet's pretty wide.
Yep.
really wide. Um,
As long as-
but it's only the perimeters, not the interior property lines, the shared lines.
But do we want to be recommending changes to code here when it might get all readdressed with the UDO, or do it as part of the UDO, or is the UDO consultant going to dive this deep? Michael, aren't they eventually? And
I would recommend we not focus on specific numbers or specific recommendations. So like the note I wrote down, which I will pass on to the consultant, is increase buffer strip width for commercial and industrial subdivisions and generally for zoning buffers.
Perfect.
And I believe that captures it, and we will lean on the consultants to use best practices to reflect that.
yeah,
If
and
it's the board's
that's
pleasure.
kind of how I would approach all that we're looking at on an ongoing basis right now, is identify your point and have Michael write those down and pass that on to the UDO consultant, you know.
And just a note too, so the UDO project is exempt from the
Yeah,
down zone.
we're not.
Right.
We are not
Business.
right now.
Right.
So there is limitation on, true text amendments we could do to the code now that would trigger those down zoning prohibitions.
Unless I misspoke myself, last time we talked, these meetings between now and then were going to be about working towards that, what you called the one shot with the UDO. I get it. This isn't this is kind of like a quasi UDO meeting or a pre-UDO meeting. But we can't even do that. If we wanted to do just that, we can't even do that. That's down zoning. I don't think so.
Yeah, I just think
All of these are a list of take it to.
yeah,
Yep.
I do think it's our role here, especially knowing that that project is going on, and that is our avenue for change, is that we just need to think big picture about what we'd like to see and make sure we pass all of that on to the UDO consultants and let them
Not
do
that I want to change what we're doing right now, but when you asked me at the last meeting, I felt we needed to be the higher level, not in the weeds.
Right.
You said I had something else to say. I was like, I feel we need to be the higher level conversation.
Yeah. But the point, but the
happy to
point
do
that you bring up, Dean, is yeah, all the way around, not only in this zone, but every other zone, we
Yes.
want more buffers. And that's
Yep.
the kind of thing I think we need to be
Buffers.
focused on.
You want me to keep going?
Keep going.
Yeah, actually, while we were here, there is right before the buffer, just highlighting the 153.078 on the prior page, goes to that walking trail sidewalk
Mhm.
language that we all looked at a little while back. And again, just sort of flagging big picture, reminded me that this is one that, needs more fleshing out. I think, there was a question about whether, for example, that sidewalk or walking trail had to be within the property, or if that property could, where the walking trail was accessible to the public, or, so it just, again, without necessarily kind of getting into the specifics, I think, flagging this as something that needs a lot more clarification. I'd be happy to kind of leave it at that unless anyone else wants to jump in on that one.
Michael, can you share with us what they're going to deliver to the UDO committee in September? I mean, what is it that they're bringing to us?
The next meeting in September is specifically for the annotated outline. So it's the skeleton of the new code. So it'll have all the chapters, it'll have all the subsections of the chapters, and there will be explanatory text for each section, subsection, and chapter. So it's basically we're not into the regulations yet. It's a conversation about layout, if you will, how the whole UDO flows and is structured together.
Will that include a map?
We're not sure if that'll be ready yet by then, but it is being worked on now.
I mean, because, having served on the board for a little bit here, nowhere close to Jim, but just having served just the last couple of years, I mean, there are a number of things that have come up where, without looking at any code, I could say, here's some things we'd like to see, but I don't know when the appropriate time is to talk about those things and pass those on to the consultant, from lot sizes to setbacks to everything else. And so, I don't know if we do this now, we do that next meeting to say, here are some things we'd like to see as part of the UDO.
I would say,
rather-
oh, sorry.
That's all right, rather than go page by page and by page.
Mhm.
Interesting to walk through and look, but just really kind of a list of things that based on not what we want, but based on what is written and tied to the future use map, right? It's very general language, but on each of those, I could come up with some items that should be in the UDO project. That's how I would approach it rather than line by line, certainly on the code.
Jenny, you remind me, are you on the UDO?
I am.
Okay, steering
I
committee,
am.
I'm sorry, it's been a while since we've met in person.
Yep.
So I couldn't remember who was all there. Perfect.
So when the steering committee meets, there will be an opportunity to talk about that. Any general feedback should be communicated to Chad and Karen, our consultants with code right planners. There's also the opportunity that usually they have open office hours while they're here, when we're not before council or when we're not doing a public forum, there's other time available. So if other ideas want to be, communicated to them, that could be used during their in-person visit as well. But, the comp plan and the future land use map are some of the primary guiding documents for this whole endeavor in developing the new code. If you feel there's something not being addressed or a gap, the way to check that, I would recommend going through the code diagnosis document, because that highlights all the major themes for improvement and specific subsections of those themes. One of them is specifically about rural character. And so I would recommend reading through that first, which is available on imaginemillsriver.com, the project website. The full code diagnosis is uploaded there. And if there's anything that, again, you feel has not been touched on at all that's really important that we're missing, that's when I would bring that up. But some of those general themes of rural character, larger lot sizes in those areas, a lot of that's encompassed in that code diagnosis document, which again, not only diagnoses the issues with our current code, but takes all of our plans, even the bicycle and pedestrian plan, and takes all of those recommendations and basically feeds it into the UDO process.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, again, I know they're using this land use category, so I want a definition for estate lots. What does that mean, right? Those are all the things, this is what I would base all of my thoughts on, and so, I think that's, obviously, when the code comes out after, before it's voted on, that's when we gotta go in there and say, this is the one shot. And we need to look at that and say, that's a lot of work, but we still need to do that because we have that one shot and we have to abide by the downzoning prohibition, after that, so.
And some of that will be fleshed out with the new zoning district and zoning regulations too, because again, it's common in a lot of municipalities or local governments to have minimum lot sizes or density by district, not town-wide, which is what we do. So as we kind of get into, new zoning districts and then the zoning map would be part of that, that's when we'll learn more about what they're proposing with specific lot sizes. Looking at the calendar, after their September visit, there's another visit scheduled in December, but we have another touch point with more documents to review in October. So while we can't always drag the folks out from Durham every time, if the steering committee wants to do another remote webinar like we did, gosh, I can't remember, in June at some point, we could always do that and have a touch point in between these visits. But right now, the scheduled in-person visits is September 24th, 26th, and then December 10th and 11th.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna eat an elephant, we gotta do it a bite at a time, right? So when we get that first generalized skeleton, we need to kind of go through that and feedback suggestions. That's why I'd like to have it, ahead of time. And so,
Yeah, so I can say by what dates did I just say? By mid-October, one of the deliverables is chapter 1 of the code, chapter 2 of the code, and the draft zoning map.
Okay, Well, with that, yeah, Jenny, do you want to kind of high level talk about?
Yeah.
These points that you've,
So I
highlighted?
give specifics, but so I don't know if this would fall under our 153.083 farmland preservation program. It doesn't really talk about retaining or incorporating any farm structures or historically significant attributes to the property. I would like to see that added there, that they retain them or incorporate them into their design. So that would help with the kind of rural look we're going for too, and preserve some of our history. Let's see. It's finding it and telling y'all where to go next is my problem. All right, so stream setbacks. That is 153.085 in miscellaneous advisory provisions. I would like to see the minimum setback be increased. Because just back to Jim's point, we are having some increase in our flooding just due to Helene or the amount of water that's coming into the area now. So while, you know, the river is the river, streams, we can protect a little bit better. So I'd like to see an increase in the stream setback, abutting residentials specifically.
Dwellings, residential dwellings.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
If I can intervene, is there appetite also for stream buffers just generally in the zoning code for any structure?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And then,
So this is,
oh, sorry, go ahead. No, you're
on-
good.
On that one, on that same one you're on, the watershed rules overriding. So this is obviously outside.
The watershed standard, if you're a low density, is 30 feet, so it matches. If you're a high density watershed development, it's 100 feet from the stream. No, that's state code, administrative
state
code.
code.
Mhm. Now, again, subdivision ordinance or zoning ordinance, we can have our own standards, although
Be more
there is some state legislation, I don't know if it's passed, that basically is fighting against local governments having more restrictive standards than state or federal law. But
I would like to see it further too. Again, we're
Yeah,
agreeing,
yeah,
make sure.
I gotcha.
Do something and then the watershed rules.
Yeah, you ask all the good,
Back.
you keep asking questions because we'll get there all together.
Definitely like to see.
So, and then we also have maintenance of buffers. So that's C, while streams was A, we got maintenance of buffers in C. I would like to see a reducement in replacement time from one growing season to how do we define a growing season? Is that 1 year? Is it 9 months?
we don't have a standard definition. Usually planting season's gonna be spring or fall.
Yep.
And so usually we will default to the next, I guess the better term would be planting season. Because obviously you're not gonna, or what I've heard is you're not gonna want to put an evergreen tree in the ground in the middle of June.
Correct, correct. So, this is a two-prong, thing then, I guess, is to define what growing season is, a little bit better.
A number of months.
See that, I have that in mind as my notes to 3 months.
I mean,
like-
growing season is the summer. It says growing season. You don't transplant in the middle of the growing season.
Exactly. So, and to me, that's 3 months is a season. So,
How long we get vegetables over to the farmers?
exactly. Yep. That's our height.
6 months, or, change this as an example.
So yeah, just a little bit more
Transplant
defined.
season.
That's fine. See. Buffers. And then, so we're going to go a few pages before to, and this may not be changeable, just putting it in the notes. So when we go to the, when it talks about roadways, So that is 153.069 roads in general. And then we have a table back behind it, table 1. Under road construction, minimum travelway width for a two-way road is 18 feet. Like to see that increase just a little bit. I've been in a couple of developments lately that have like a 20 to 22 feet road width, and that's really great for pedestrians to walk down the side, and it's still two-way traffic in between. So it keeps everybody a little bit safer.
Before you move on,
You're good.
give me a second, catch up.
You're fine.
This is referring to private road only.
So this is collector local and limited local. Yep.
Privately made.
Well, yes. And limited local is the is only serving 1 to 3 residential. Local is when we start getting into the more development, because that's over 10. It can be 1 to 24, but over 10 lots, correct? It's a development.
11 or more is a major subdivision, but the road standards are different. So
Yes.
local is, I guess it's 4 to 24 dwellings.
But this is limited local.
No, what I'm talking about is well,
Right.
there's different slots for it.
Yeah, so limited local has a minimum travelway width of 14 feet. Local, which is 4 to 24 dwellings, has a minimum travelway width of 18 feet. And then my question is, are you asking about the collector road for 25 or more dwellings? You want that larger than 18 feet, or you're just talking generally the standard should be higher than 18 feet for travelway width,
Generally,
generally?
anything that's that goes into development territory. So that limited local, that 14 feet, that's a driveway. That's solid. But yeah, just add a little bit more to that 18 feet. I do have one more. Y'all will bear with me. Sit up. So I did not actually see this. Please correct me if I'm wrong or point me in the right direction. For the improvement guarantee or bond, I seen it in the definitions, but didn't really see it in the actual packet. But I might be missing it.
It is the last section of the ordinance. Let me scroll to it. Oh, so it is attachment. It is the first page of attachment D,
Okay.
153.100.
In general.
And it basically at the top says subdivision improvement guarantees, and then halfway down the page, it goes into application enforcement and legal status provision. So it's a short section.
Yes.
I'll summarize it by saying we require a bond or an improvement guarantee when a developer wants to subdivide lots and sell them before the infrastructure is installed.
Okay.
So if a developer submits us a plat saying, I want to create 20 lots out of this 20-acre parcel, and if there's no roads there or no utilities or everything, all the other infrastructure, we will require basically an engineered estimate of all that work and require it to be bonded up to 125% of the total amount. So if the developer were to fail and we have individual lot owners that have now purchased into this defunct development, the town could call up that bond and do the work to make those lots livable or habitable. If a developer wants to build all the improvements at the front end or infrastructure and then subdivide the individual lots after the fact, no bond comes into play because they're selling those individual parcels with homes on them with all utilities and improvements in place for them to make habitable,
Yep.
made them habitable.
Gotcha. Okay. So what are, oh, I'm gonna ask about, Mills River Crossing with the bond. Now, did we get a bond on them? Okay.
They, I don't know about phase 1 and 2 because I wasn't here, but to my knowledge for all the other phases, they installed all the infrastructure at their expense at the front end before seeking subdivided lots.
Okay.
So no bond was
No bond
required.
required. Now, can we, as a town, require some kind of bond since their infrastructure failed? Or was improperly installed, or whatever is going on? I don't know.
I'd have to look into what the statutes allow.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, yeah, that's all I got.
Does anyone else want to flag any issues? Thank you very much for your thorough review.
Only because it was mentioned in that section. Michael, I tried to write it down. The code diagnosis. Code diagnosis is what's on Imagining Mills River.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, with that, and thank you, Michael, for taking some notes to provide to the UDO. On that feedback, sounds like we might have a training video to watch tonight.
If popcorn do.
I don't see any popcorn. Yeah, I think we are. Yep.
Oh, I'm supposed to mention to the public that we're going to be doing a training video provided by the UNC School of Government, and due to copyright issues, we cannot broadcast this portion of the meeting because the video is not meant for public distribution. So if anyone online is listening, we are going to be turning off the cameras and microphones. It's about a 20 to 25 minute long video, and our board members will be watching that. And after that period of time elapses, we will turn the cameras back on for the end of the meeting.
Thank you. That was, we're back online.
Oh,
muted.
yes, we're back.
That was really helpful. I think super like clear and straightforward. Board comments or thoughts, reactions?
You stepped across a lot of those.
Yeah.
Phil, let's be future facing.
Good video. Thanks for you.
Yeah.
providing that.
Oh, that.
And I know the board had specifically asked for a subdivision one, but just due to subdivision ordinances being so specific to localities, that wasn't something the school government offers. But as we have time in our agendas, I'll try to pepper a few of these in here or there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really nice. Are there any additional items that the board wants to discuss tonight? Okay, Jim,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.